In the memories of a generation who watched it, it was the stuff of fairy tales, a bejeweled princess ascending to the throne with all the pomp and circumstance Britain can muster. Nearly 65 years after the young queen charmed the Commonwealth with the first televised coronation, she has disclosed the secret discomfort behind the glamorous facade. From a heavy crown with some disadvantages to a frankly horrible journey, the Queen, who reflects on her own coronation and that of her father for the new BBC television programme, has given an unprecedented insight into the reality of her day, as she was crowned at Westminster Abbey on June 2, 1953. The programme is due to be broadcast by the BBC and in the US, with an American trailer released this weekend showing the Queen speaking candidly about the less-than-picture-perfect elements required to make the coronation ceremony and procession a success. Filmed watching scenes of her 25-year-old self traveling in the Gold State coach, she appears to confess the experience had in part been horrible, suggesting difficulties may have been down to a lack of suspension. "It's only sprung on leather," she said, "not very comfortable." Later in the trailer, as she discussed the crown jewels, she said smiling, "There are some disadvantages to the crowns, but otherwise, they're quite important things." Though the short clip does not specify what those disadvantages are, others have previously told of the heavy weight of crowns. The St. Edward's crown, which the Queen has worn only once for her coronation, weighs nearly 5 pounds. In one scene, which sees the Queen watching footage of the young Prince Charles and Princess Anne playing with her robe, presenter Alastair Bruce remarks, "Such fun for the children." The Queen replies dryly, "Not what they're meant to do." The full program is expected to share with viewers the Queen's memories of the day which, as she puts it, was the beginning of one's life really, as a sovereign. Presented by Bruce, an expert on the coronation, it will see her discuss the crown jewels from her unique perspective, identifying an apparent favorite gem in the Black Prince's ruby, which adorns the imperial state crown. A spokesman for Buckingham Palace said, "In the program, part of the royal collection season, the Queen reflects on various aspects of the coronation ceremony and the significance of the crown jewels." A royal source said of the program, "It's a rare and often charming insight into Her Majesty's personal recollections of the day. We'll let people watch the film as a whole in due course." The trailer, released in America, shows more of the program than a more cautious 30-second edit released by the BBC. In 2007, the corporation was compelled to apologize after a documentary trailer wrongly appeared to show the Queen storming out of a photography session with Annie Leibovitz, with footage of her walking into the room used out of sequence. The BBC version shows the smiling Queen saying, "I've seen one coronation, and been the recipient in the other, which is pretty remarkable. It's sort of, I suppose, the beginning of one's life really, as a sovereign." In both, the Queen appears pleased to be sharing her knowledge of the jewels and the two coronations. In a rare television interview, the discomfort of the Gold State coach will be of particular interest to anyone who watched the coronation, with a return route from Westminster Abbey designed so that the Queen and Duke could be seen by as many members of the public as possible, covering 4.5 miles in 2 hours. The Queen had left Buckingham Palace at 10:26 am, with the coronation service beginning at 11:15 am and lasting almost 3 hours. In keeping with her pledge to put duty before self, the Queen has since used the same carriage on occasions including her Silver and Golden Jubilee processions, commissioned in 1760 and first used by George III for the state opening of Parliament. The coach has been used at every coronation from George IV onwards. The hour-long program will be broadcast on BBC One on Sunday, January 14 at 8 p.m., and features eyewitness accounts from a maid of honor who nearly fainted in the Abbey, and a 12-year-old choir boy left to sing solo when his overwhelmed colleagues lost their voices. Thank you for watching.